I would do the leg wrap toe touches, plank touches, okay? So I would start with the swing low, lean back, and wrap, this is my right, your left leg around. This is the most important core strengthener in my humble opinion. Leg wrap, plank toe touches. So first of all, if we just get into this pose, if we can get them into this pose, it is a great side body stretch. So we're already opening up the legs and the hips. Then you hold on and lean back. So I have to press in here to lean back. And now, if I'm doing it correctly, I'm straight. I'm horizontal. Plane. Sometimes you have to tell people what horizontal is. So level with the ground. And then teach them how to hold onto the foot and bend in the hip flexor like we were talking about. And then after you do, let's say 10, then try the dancer pose and do bigger on the exhale. Up, come up. And then stretch the belly. I need to get into the half bow. So,
is that stretch belly with one-legged back bends?
Yes.
Okay.
So from here, you either bring them down and release the leg if they're not ready for inversions, and then do second side. Or you can switch in the air. You can switch through Peaceful Warrior. Right?
Yeah.
I straighten this top leg to get the hamstring stretch, and then this should feel really, really good. It's like, oh yeah, I do this a lot when I'm at home. This is pretty much my yoga. For like 2 hours, I'm like, I'm good. So I don't really do a lot of strenuous yoga anymore. I'm more into this style. Plus I hang out for a long time in the poses. So it's only when I'm creating new sequencing that I really kind of go for it, because we're going to do some of the dynamic strengthening on day 6. And get into some of the hardcore, muscle building stuff, but most of the time I'm like, I don't really know that. So we relax first, then we engage. So notice the swing is diagonal. It's going from my waist to my upper back. That gives me support. And I like to hook my foot. I'm giving you guys a lot of details here so you can see. This allows this leg to be engaged, which allows the flat body to happen. So I can push it straight or keep it bent, it doesn't matter. But toe touches with this arm engaged as well. And if I can keep plank, so in my extension, I'm using every single muscle group. Like toe touches. 10 if you can. Exhale on the way up. Make sure the fingers are touching the toes. So if they're like this, it means they're bending at the waist, not the hip. I'm going to change that, as you can tell when we get into some of the ollies and this stuff. That's really important. And then dancer version. Big stretch. See, my toes and my fingertips are even, so I find that pivot point. 10 of those. Grab the foot, stretch the belly here. So it's not important how far you go with the foot, whether it's one hand, both hands, blah, blah, blah. It's more important to get the belly stretch. Okay? So even if the person has trouble reaching, make sure they do. So, and come on down, nice and easy. So that would be if you were going to do one core strengthener per class. I'd recommend that.
You put that in kind of the middle?
Before you do any sort of acrobatic. So you can, so yesterday we did the one-legged stretches like this.
Yeah.
So you can go right from one-legged stretches to doing the core. This would be an easier version. Right? You can also do just knee. So this is a good way to transition. So some people, if they're not ready for the inversions or the more dynamic strength, then I would start out with using the leg loop. It helps them find the plank. Right? As we push down here, we're like, okay. Stay level. So that's a good place to add it in when we do the little one leg sit-up number 3. So what's so great about today is you see how we can use all the basic poses to just start to add on to create an intermediate. So that's the way it's designed. So 1 through 4 keeps getting repeated in 5 through 12. Okay, so if I'm here, right, and I decide I want to do the bigger version, I can press back and hook and then release too. So you can always say, okay, if anybody wants to do the more advanced, hook up to the swing.
Okay.
So
What did you do before? You just had it straight?
I was using the leg loop,
Yeah.
doing the leg stretches. Remember these
Yes.
from yesterday? So from here, I can press back and hook the change sides. So sometimes I'll give multiple variations if I have a class with a lot of different levels.
Yeah.
If they're all pretty much the same level, then I wouldn't do 2 different variations because, you know, you're going to lose half the people anyhow. So that's what I would recommend for that. So learning 5, 6, 7, and 8 can all be done through floating Buddha. Floating Buddha is ankles. Okay? Repeat after me. Floating Buddha is ankles.
Floating Buddha's ankles.
Ankles. Which one is this?
Yeah.
Owl.
So tell me.
What do you call it?
It's the chillaxin.
Chillaxin.
Yes, last. That's
Just
what I
get to
like
say it, because I'm going to ask you guys to get into chillaxin pose when we start practicing teaching, which we're going to do, maybe even today, depending on the workshop. And I want you guys to be like, okay, we'll get into chillaxin pose and then lead me through the lounging sequence.
Okay.
So if somebody's like, what's that? You know, so I want to get used to getting the names queued up with the visual of what that pose looks like. Okay, so 5, 6, 7, and 8 can all be accessed through floating Buddha. Ankles. These are all working at the ankles. Okay, so we can do our leg stretches here. So this is number 3 with the floating pigeon. Or we can start to incorporate, these are bigger leg stretches mainly because of this.
Yeah.
Okay, and when people start crying, because they will, you'll see it in their face, they start doing sourpuss. Then we say, okay, well, we'll do those upside down. Now from here, you can do the whole sequence, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, just to repeat, row your boat. Just break down leg loops, go on the arches of the feet. Very important. Okay?
You kept your hands up too, yeah.
My hands slide up and down. I'm not holding on.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's a good, and I'm bending at the hip flexors to come in. So back to ankles for all the other versions.
So the leg loops on the arches of the feet is only for the row.
It's only for the rowing.
Okay.
Only for the rowing. Okay guys, so leg stretches are pretty obvious. Wide straddle, Baddha Konasana, squeeze, bow and arrow, revolver.
Yeah.
Revolver. Shorthand, right?
Got it.
Same when it's upside down. When it's upside down, we're really using gravity to do the stretching. When we're upright, we want to keep this length in the spine, so make sure your people aren't like this.
Okay.
Which is a habit. So that's 5 and 6. That's all the 5, pardon me. The core strengthening and then the leg stretches. 6 is the inversions. Oh, do we need to go over frog swim?
That was like the planes, right? Like the front, side,
Yes.
back
We have
planes.
to teach people how to go through the planes. So I keep them holding onto the swing. That's the beginner version.
Yeah.
More advanced, they can have their hands down. I usually, if somebody's really confused, I'll say, okay, point back towards your toes, back plane, Come out to the side, side clean. In front, front clean. So I'll use the fingers to point. Literally, this is necessary and so helpful for some people to get their brain wrapped around it. This is the back plane. This is the side plane. This is the front plane. And it feels good. I don't know if you guys enjoy doing this, but I love swimming in this space, so the frog swim. See, right? Just feels really good. Just like you're swimming through water. Okay, so I think we got number 6 down, but let's just talk about it. So peaceful warrior. We wrap the legs into the front plane.
So we went to ladle altogether down there, right?
Yeah, well you can get there from the floating Buddha, and then, yep, get into ladle, and then legs have to come wide and wrap in the front plane. So they're not wide straddle, it's actually a wrap into the front plane. So legs and arms kind of match. So I bring the arms like this in peaceful warrior. This is the peaceful warrior pose, but your arms could be in any position, but that's the traditional one. So happy Buddha. Tell me how happy Buddha goes. Exactly. Yeah, pretty much. And feet are
Happy Buddha.
together. Very good, guys.
Front.
When you're working.
Yeah, you push your hips forward. Because your hands are like this. So you're working it in the next one, which is the back bend. I call it archer. Back bend and archer, same things. The names migrate and mutate and change. So from happy Buddha, they all sequence, right?
Yeah.
We have to open up. So this is the position, but we keep this locked, so it's not like this, right? So we really keep it locked. The reason why we do that is we want to open the chest. If the arms are just relaxed, then we don't get the chest opener. Like this on the outside is very important. You'll see people try to open their arms and kind of get stuck. So scorpion. So scorpion, the first position is we come into handstand arms. We push our feet against the swing as if we're trying to pull our feet towards our head, and then we come into a wide straddle. Okay? So there's reasoning to do that the way that we're working with the hips and opening up the spine. So wide straddle is when we're engaged and our feet are level with our hips. So we want to be able to get that tuck in the pelvis. When you're really flexing, you can lose that engagement through the core. And then the arch can happen at the heart then, instead of overarching here. And then the ollies, it's like toe touches. Really good. Are there any parts of that that you want to write down that are tricky or that I should demo or go over? I think we got this, right?
Yeah, that one is pretty easy.
Pretty good.
The scorpion though, like I feel like I always was like bending at the back, like my lower back rather than the heart. Like that one was hard for me to focus on, like I think pushing the weight down maybe, like pushing with my legs
Now I'm
down.
going to get into it and I can show you.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. The thing is the scorpion, you don't go very far. So I think for somebody like you who's used to getting your feet to your head.
Oh, scorpion.
Yeah. it's you're using the swing to create like a tractioning and a pressure.
Yeah.
So you're pushing against it and you're really wanting, the point of not being able to move your legs is to lift your heart.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? Because your legs are locked in and so it forces you to get more of the lift through here where most people fold. You know, the people that are bending at the waist to do the sit-ups, it's just as bad when you're bending at the lower back to get the arch. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. In general, like I'm super bendy and did all like the contortionist stuff when I was younger and then had major back injuries for 15 years. Major. So I stopped doing that and I started to learn Anusara yoga and how to really engage in a different way and start to pull and plug all my joints because I was just like, blah, you know?
Yeah.
And so now that I've plugged in, I can open up with the heart instead of pushing the ribs, right?
Yeah.